I'm John from Google. So yes, as Emma says, our table has been focused on looking at the technical innovations that are likely to drive end users, and we've interpreted that as corporate end users onto the public cloud. Interestingly, when we asked the question and, if you like, put that on the table, the first three items that came up were security. So security, encryption, enterprise identity management. Before any level of technical innovation got talked about. So from a technical perspective, actually just having the relevant applications available was a key item. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the service, the solution has to provide everything, but there is the ability to go out to a marketplace and get an application that you can add on to your solution that actually provides you with exactly what you need. So that was a key point. From a security perspective, as I touched on, the key things that people wanted to see from a security perspective was ensure that there is encryption of data and an enterprise identity management system. And then also a lot of discussion and debate around the fact that end users will drive us. That actually end users, a lot of end users, consumers of our services, are actually putting their data into unencrypted public clouds in any case. They're actually finding workarounds. They are using their personal ID, which they're emailing, sometimes company confidential data to, so that they can actually take it home at the weekend and work on it at the weekend. And this is very common. Many people around the table we're seeing examples of this. So this already happens. This already happens. People are using it. So the discussion then was, well, what do we as leaders within the businesses and within the IT organizations do to actually have some level of influence to say, well, let's at least ensure we choose the relevant, appropriate provider that has the levels of security that we need. So rather than letting the consumers of our service choose for us, let's actually put something in place that allows this to happen in any case. So effectively, the net of that was that probably we will become, over time, specialists in procuring other services. And then we will have influence and or control that says we can make those choices. We know where the data is residing, if that's relevant to us. We know the levels of security, again, which is very, very important to us. From a public sector perspective, there was a number of people on the table who were talking from the public sector. There was a couple of things which came out. So one of them was that public sector organizations will have more and more of their financial spend information published openly for anybody to have a look at and inspect. And that actually people are outing, if you like, where the big spends are, the big £10,000 spends. That's legislation. There was an example that one of the guys had of the ASBO, the ASBOrometer, as in how many ASBOs and other antisocial orders are in place around here. And other such things are coming into the public domain. So it is seen that from a public sector perspective, there will be the outing of the financial spend, and therefore, if you like, public demand that the spend gets reduced, and there are other, more competitive financial solutions that can be available. But one of the potential downsides of that was that in the public sector, there are a lot of long contracts that have to be honoured, overdue, and that kind of thing. Also, it's interesting about the perception of cloud as a terminology. And yes, I was watching the Newsnight report last night. I found it very informative. I think personally, and around the table, it comes out there's a lot of mystique around what does the cloud mean. When people hear the cloud, they kind of say, what does that actually mean? I'm not sure if I want to do that. And yet, certainly in our table, we had at least a third of the table who use, for example, Salesforce.com. So Salesforce.com, an online service, you can say that's in the cloud, and that is actually keeping our potential sales information, our potential clients, our potential future business, which is the crown jewels of most organizations, and yet we use that and we trust it. So if you like, there's almost a dichotomy that says, as organizations, we're not always sure that we want to go to the cloud, and yet actually, very often, we are using the cloud and they're using it securely, comfortably, and it's just an online service, and actually we don't really care where it comes from. So just to sort of summarize, the brief was, what are the technical innovations that will drive people? The net of it was, actually, it's not so much the technical innovations, it's having the trust in the security, it's choosing the supplier, because otherwise the end users will choose it for us. And actually, many of us use online services without even thinking about it and without even realizing it. Thank you.